Did you know that Skull and Bones was first announced at E3 in 2017? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos, and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy, and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello, welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 193. My name's Gareth Bradley. I'm going to be your host, and on my virtual left is Mr. Darren Edwards. How you doing, Darren?
Hello, good evening. Nice to be back. How are you, Gareth?
I'm very good. God, we're getting near to 200, aren't we? When's that going to happen? It's going to happen by April, maybe? Yeah, wow. On my virtual right is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How you doing, Paul?
Good evening, Gareth. I'm very well, thank you. Does something exciting happen when we get to 200 then?
We get cancelled.
Is that how it works?
Yeah,
I thought that was happening at 100.
No, we do that 199. We do something outrageous.
That's it. We're done.
We go mad. We
go straight to 201.
We say all the things we wanted to say.
That'll be an after dark podcast then, wouldn't it?
It will be.
That'll be after the watershed.
On my virtual opposite is Mr. Richard Dobson. How you doing, Richard?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm good. I'm surviving. I don't know why I'm surviving, but it's been very sunny today in London, so it's like summer. Yeah. What have we been doing this week? What fun things have we been doing? Richard, let's start with you as we just...
Well, it was the Super Bowl on Sunday, as I'm sure literally everyone is aware of it now because Taylor Swift's involved in it, and that means that it's just rammed down people's throats, whether they want it or not. It's the first time in probably 20 years that I've not watched it live. I decided because of the teams that were involved, I had zero interest in it, so I watched it Monday morning instead. And the game was actually quite good fun. Not the best in terms of quality. It was much more of a defensive performance by both teams in the first half. But yeah, everything's just overshadowed by Taylor Swift now. It's like the game hardly even mattered. They had specific cameras set up so they could see every reaction she was doing. And it was all just a bit much, to be honest.
Did you enjoy the game?
Well, what I was able to see of it, yeah, but half of it was Taylor Swift on camera.
All right, there you go.
Can I ask a question?
Go on, yeah, Paul.
No, I don't like where this is going.
No. It's something that I read on the Twitter, or the platform formerly known as Twitter, and it was that Kanye West had apparently paid for a seat right in front of Taylor Swift, so that every time the camera went to there, he was there, and she got him removed. Do you know if that is true?
I have no idea. She was in a box, so
like a cardboard box. Solid Snake.
No, one of the. I think there were about $2.5 million suite box executive boxes, which is more than one of the quarterbacks was on. He couldn't have even afforded a box. They were that expensive.
Wow. Outrageous. And did you also see the news from the victory parade today as well?
I did. Yeah, that's scandalous.
Shocking, isn't it? So.
Depressing. So there you go.
Yeah, we're not going to bring the podcast down, but
no.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, isn't it, these days?
It was the most watched TV event since the moon landings, yeah, which in America. Good, there you go. Super Bowl is something I've never seen, and one day I will see it.
There's no point. We're not American.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Adobo must think he's American or something to be into American football, but yeah, no.
Good. There you go. That's a word from Paul.
American football is nonsense unless you're American. If you're not American, forget about it.
Yeah, good. There you go. How's your week been, Paul?
It's been absolutely dreadful, Gareth. Thanks for asking.
Keep it light.
Keep it light. I've been spent the week in Yorkshire, in Wakefield. I'll not say Leeds because it offends Dobbo. It kind of is. It's like 10 miles to Leeds. So
Still 10 miles, not enough.
It's Yorkshire enough for me. Let's put it that way. Flat caps and whippets everywhere. Now, so yeah, it's that time of year again when the old Pat tester comes out of retirement, and I have to go around and crawl on the floor and unplug every single plug in a massive, great shop, stroke warehouse, stroke office block. So yeah, I'm having a right good time. But then, just for a break, because obviously everybody needs a bit of a break from these kind of exciting things every now and again. I've got to go to Essex tomorrow because somebody has managed to blow up one of their PCs. So, yeah, there you go. Go from one end of the country to the other.
Whereabouts in Essex are you going to, Paul?
Waltham Cross.
Brilliant. So fans of Pat testing will be really pleased with this.
There's no Pat testing tomorrow. It's back to the day job tomorrow and IT. But yeah, any Pat testing queries, just put them questions on a postcard, and I'll get to them on the next podcast.
Good, brilliant. Darren, you must have had something better than this.
Well, I've got a question for Paul. How did said person blow up their computer? Are you allowed to tell us?
I have literally no idea. She just rang me up and said, my computer doesn't work anymore. Why? What's wrong with it? I don't know. It just doesn't work.
Fire.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to go in there and find it a melted mess in the morning. But, honestly.
I think it was because it wasn't Pat tested in the first place.
No, it was.
Safety first,
it might not have been Pat tested in the last 12 months, but it was definitely Pat tested at one time.
There we go.
Oh dear. For the first time in years, I didn't watch the Super Bowl because normally a few of us get together and watch it because every year, by the time it comes around, I've forgotten how it works, so I have to learn how it works all over again. But there is something quite attractive about watching it, but I didn't have the energy this year, so I completely missed it, even with the allure of Taylor Swift being there. But no, work's been pretty mad, and I want to take this opportunity to wish everyone a happy recession as well. As the news has come out today, that's good.
Keep it light, keep it light.
And I haven't really had time to watch much on telly, but The Apprentice is back. That's still going. Apparently hasn't had amazing viewer figures, but it's still a guilty pleasure. So I've been watching that recently, and that's about it, really.
Good. Remember, Darren, we're turning the corner. We're turning the corner.
Just, the wrong way.
Yeah. into a wall.
Let's have a bit of balance, shall we? Let's talk about Labour Party candidates for general or by-election, shall we?
We wasn't slagging off anything.
Let's not go there.
Let's start talking about that kind of thing, shall we?
Good.
We really do need a politics podcast because it's just going to be an hour of me and Darren screaming at each other.
Yeah.
One day, Paul.
That's what have I been doing? I haven't talked about True Detective Night Country. That's what I've been watching. It's got one more episode left. It's only got 6 parts. It's in the True Detective universe, so it's not directly by the same writer. It follows Jodie Foster. I've forgotten the other actress's name, and it's set in Alaska, and it has a very different feel to it. It has a supernatural feel to it. It's very good. I really like it. It's Alaska. Just watching something just makes you feel so cold. That place. It looks so cold, but it's beautifully lit. It has almost like there's a research station in Alaska, very much like The Thing, and suddenly they all disappear and they're all found together dead in a kind of in a bundle, in a frozen bundle, and it's investigation trying to find out what's happened. And there's only one more episode left, so hopefully it all gets tied up. But I've really enjoyed it. I think it's had some mixed responses, but I've really enjoyed myself with it. I think Jodie Foster's great in it. Yeah, go on.
Gareth, I've got it recorded. Do I need to have watched any of the other True Detectives to fully appreciate it?
Absolutely not. So you can do it as a separate thing. Yeah, absolutely. All kind of separate story.
Can I watch The Thing instead? Because it's obviously a fantastic movie.
Yeah, you can watch that. Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Because this sounds dreadful. This sounds very dull.
Is that an American film, Paul?
The Thing? No. It was made in Pinewood Studios, mate.
Oh.
Right next to James Bond,
Oh, my word. Right, let's talk about games. Let's talk about games we've been playing, because we've been playing some games, some good ones. And who should we start with? I think Let's start with a bigger one. I think, Darren, let's start with you. You've got something old,
Okay,
something borrowed, something new. Tell us about it.
Let's lead with that. Yeah, so I've been playing Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remastered starring Lara Croft, which is a bit of a mouthful, but that's what they've decided to call it. So this is a remaster. It's billed as a remaster of the first 3 games that came out, if memory serves me right, 1996 to 1998 for the PlayStation, and they were released on PC, I think, as well. And one of them might have even found its way to Sega Saturn. It was that long ago. And what they've done is, obviously the core design, the original developers are now defunct, and they were based in Derby, not far from me and Paul. So Aspyr have taken on the role of publishing and developing it. And what they've done a number of things to the games. And I love the games, absolutely love them. So I was really, really excited to get my hands on this. Most noticeably, they've upscaled the visuals. So they haven't, it's not a remake. They haven't rebuilt it. They haven't smoothed off edges and stuff. What they've done is they've just increased the detail on the foundations that have already been laid, which for me, I love, because it walks the line between, you can still kind of tell when these games are released, but you're seeing them through modern eyes, and it's just little things like in a lot of the outdoor areas, the processing power of the PlayStation wasn't powerful enough, so there would just be a blank black sky if it's a nighttime scene, whereas now there's a starry night and moon and detail, and the draw distance is better. So I think it really works. Another area they've worked on, which doesn't quite work as well, is the controls. So for those who have played the original Tomb Raiders, they're described as tank controls. The way Lara handles, you have to pivot on the spot, line up your jumps perfectly, or you'll plummet to your death. It's quite clunky, to say the least. So they've redesigned the controls in a modern way, but because they haven't redesigned pretty much any of the passages of play of how the game works, they don't quite work in some situations. So the best example I can give is, if you're having to drop down from one ledge to another and it's quite high, you would back off the ledge, hang, and then drop so you wouldn't take any damage. In the modern controls, you can't do that, because if you use the thumbstick, Lara immediately turns and runs in that direction. So she'll just run straight off the edge and take damage or end up killing herself or whatever. So at first it feels like a revelation, but then the drawbacks of the modern controls kind of start to show themselves as you play through the game. That being said, I think they're well worth revisiting, and if you put them in the context of when they were released, they still stand up really well to this day. You know, globetrotting adventure game starring one of, you know, the best British video game characters there has ever been. I absolutely loved my time with it. But it's not ironed out all the kinks of when the game was released. So you've still got to kind of forgive it its drawbacks as well.
Thank you, Darren. That was very good. Richard, you've been playing it as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I agree with Darren. I think the best way to play it is to sort of like have a hybrid of tank and modern controls, just because there's certain areas. But the way that the game was built lends itself to the tank controls. So I think I read somewhere that it's very much like a grid system is every Tomb Raider level. So you need that precision that you don't get from the modern controls.
Yeah.
But you get it from the tank controls. But yeah, it's like playing it with the modern graphics on as well, and the ability to switch back between the two. It's like wearing those rose tinted glasses. It looks exactly like you would remember it.
Wow.
And I think they've done a really good job in updating it in that sense. Yeah, good fun.
Good fun. Okay. Paul, any questions?
Being somewhat older than you two, I do remember these games the first time around. And what you say about the grid system, that was how I used to play it. You would have, you'd know that you'd get to an edge, jump backwards once, and then run and jump, and you get over it, and this, that, and the other. So that's still there, is it? You can still play it that way?
You can, but in the modern controls, you can't tap down to jump back. She'll turn on her axis and run in the other direction. So that's
ruined it then.
Well, in some instances it works, but yeah, it makes the jumping and the high the height platforming quite difficult and risky. The good news is you can save whenever you want, and they've done away with the stupid save crystals from Tomb Raider 1 and 3, so they're just collectibles now. So you can save whenever you want. So I know me and Ali were talking about this as well on Discord last night, but I don't know if it's just me, but when you save the first time, you open the passport up on the pause screen and you save. But then when you go to save the second time, that shifts to the second page and it automatically comes up with the loads game on the first page. So I accidentally kept loading my game and losing progress. And it's the same when the restart level is on the third page. So if you finish a level and go on to the next level, there's no autosave. So if you die and you don't flick through to restart level, you'll load your game instinctively and go all the way back to the previous level and have to do it again. So just a word of warning, there are quality of life improvements that could still be made.
Wow.
Just a top tip for Darren. If you want to jump backwards when you've got the modding controls, and if you hold out your guns and then press back, you will jump backwards. But I don't think it's enough that it will save you if you then jump off a ledge.
Oh yeah, I was trying that. I couldn't hang off the ledge to do a safe drop because I couldn't put my pistols away.
No.
Yeah. Interesting.
Good. Thank you very much. Well done, Paul, for admitting you're the oldest member of the podcast. Takes a lot of guts to admit that.
Well, do you know what?
Yeah, so it's good for that. So
Well, you'll be dead soon, so then I will be the oldest.
Wow.
Wow. I know. Harsh, isn't it? Especially me.
Sounded like a threat.
Especially-
Yeah. Well, he lives in London. You know, the life expectancy ain't going to be great.
Let's go to you, Paul. What have you got? What's your first game?
I'll talk about a game that I'm surprised that you didn't want to play, Gareth, to be fair, called Banisher's Ghosts of New Eden.
God, he's nicked that game. Well, just remember that.
It's a really, really good game. I really enjoyed it. When you start playing it, you think, oh, it's going to be a bit like Dark Souls, you know, with the emphasis on the souls because it's a ghost game. But it turns out to be so much more than that. It's a love story. It's a detective game. It is a bit of Souls-like slash 'em up and beating bosses, but there's so much depth and there's so much love gone into making the game. It just blew me away. It was really, really good. So yeah, it'd be right up your alley, Gareth.
Good. I'm saving myself for Dragon Dogma 2. That's going to be my big game.
Yeah,
for
but
the
you have to finish the first one first.
Oh, I've
before
done
you
that.
can play
I've done
that.
that.
No,
It's
you
all
haven't.
done. It's all
You
done.
have not.
It's all done. I think I
You've
reviewed
never
it.
even.
I think I
you've never
reviewed it
even
for us.
heard of. I don't think you did. I don't think you've ever heard of Dragon's Dogma until you realised that I wanted to play it. So
I think I might have reviewed
anyway,
it for
not
us.
that I'm
going to check
not that
this.
I'm suggesting that you're childish. Or
I'm
anything,
going to check
but
this when we go towards Richard's thing.
when we go to our commercial break,
yeah.
we'll check.
Send it to VAR.
What did you give it, Paul?
yeah,
I know what you gave
I
it.
gave it. Well, can you guess what I gave
I
it?
give
gentlemen?
4.5. Unbelievable. He's the only one that's given it 4.5
It
in the whole world.
There was some issues with the camera,
Yeah.
and there was some issues with some of the missions. The things that you had to do to advance the missions were completely obtuse. There was no way that you would figure it out. You had to kind of just wander around and try and interact with everything until the game decided you'd done enough to move this haunting case on. But it looks like, I mean, it set itself up beautifully for a replay because there are two different endings you can go for. And yeah, I really enjoyed my time with it, and I'm not going to stop playing it now that I've written the review. I really want to get to the end and see what happens.
I've just looked on the site and I did review Dragon's Dogma on the Xbox One in
There's no way in this
2017. Unbelievable.
Never.
Oh, I'm just going to send a little note to Neil to remind him of that, as I did the first game. Oh, nice. I like it.
What a load of nonsense.
What did I give it? So a quick look.
4.5.
4.5.
There's no mark on there.
Oh,
There you go.
are you sure you reviewed it then?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, Xbox One review. Look at that. October 23rd, 2017. Wow. God.
Not that you want to say I told you so or anything,
No,
but
I just remembered. I didn't remember until you said it. Now you brought it up. Now I've got evidence. But we don't hold it against you. Richard, what have you got? What's your first review?
Water Strike Challenges. It's a game that is a first-person shooter with a big emphasis on speedrunning. So you'll start off like the first level you do in like less than 3 seconds, and it's just showing you the ropes and everything. But it's sort of along the same lines of Doom, in that you're going through these levels as fast as you can, shooting aliens, and listening to some heavy metal in the background. And I think there's over 200 levels, so you'll just keep building and building, and it does a really good job of expanding your arsenal and giving you new abilities, and then throwing you into these levels to use them. And then as you progress, each level will give you a grade based on your time, and then you can go and try and beat it. And then there's obviously an online leaderboard with friends and everything like that. And then the medals will then unlock variations of the same levels, but also what is it? I think they're called Big Fun levels. Obviously, a riff on the BFG from Doom. Right. Is that right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one.
And these are then just like there's the arena levels where you need to survive for as long as possible. So there's quite it's good fun. There's enough variation, I think, in there to help go through all these levels, because you will be playing a lot of them. And then obviously online leaderboards and having friends on there helps a lot. It came out in September. I think I gave it a 3.5. Good fun. I think because I'm the only person that's played it on my friends list, and then looking at there's a multiplayer as well, and there's community levels that can be built, but I think they're only on PC, but they brought over to console, but you can't build the levels yourselves on console. There's just no online community for it. So the one online multiplayer game I did play was me, myself, and I, and it would have been good fun with other people, because it awards points based on how quick you complete levels and everything like that. But yeah, it's pretty good fun, and I think it would be up Paul and Darren's street as well.
Yeah, sounds quite interesting.
You've not sold it to me, I've got to say.
No.
Shooting aliens?
Shooting aliens is all right, but against the clock, I mean, that seems a bit... You want to take your time and enjoy shooting these aliens.
You get a lot to shoot.
You don't want to be rushing around just trying to shoot them as quick as you can. You want to take your time, savor the moment.
Wow. Good. Thank you, Paul, for those wise words.
Remember, kid, not everything's a race.
No.
Spoken like a true sadomasochist,
Take your time. Good. Right. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much. Let's go to who's next? It's me. I've played a game called The Inquisitor, and The Inquisitor is one of these strange games that just suddenly dropped. I don't think I've heard anything about it at all in this month. And The Inquisitors, it's based on a Polish set of sort of dark fantasy novels by a famous Polish writer I can't remember the name of, and it's set in this alternate 12th century fake European city. And the idea is that, in religious terms, Christ was on the cross, but got off the cross and used the cross to kill Pilate by killing him with the cross. And then Christ goes off to then lead a rebellion and a kind of army and destroy the Roman Empire. So you've got this very different kind of religious version. So it's called Christ the Triumphant. So all the religious pictures, all the ones like the Mary and stuff, are all pictured with swords. So it has this kind of background, but the Catholicist church is still there, and you play this Inquisitor who's basically come to this town to get rid of vampires. But you get embroiled in a kind of murder investigation around the town, which you're trying to find out who did this and meeting all these different characters. So as a story and as a kind of unique bit of gameplay and unique kind of open world in this city, it reminds me of playing those 360 games that came out that really took a risk. Those kind of single player open world adventure games that really were like you felt like you were getting a different one every month. It was like really strange kind of places. We sort of do live in a world of sequels now, and we kind of know what we've got to do, and people have got to be a bit more safer. Gameplay wise, it plays like a 360 game at times. It's quite rough around the edges, and that's in terms of visuals sometimes, in sound levels all over the place. You've got some combat that's okay. There's quick time events. There's puzzles. There's kind of like mini games you can do. There's sort of stealth sections. But I never got bored with it at all. And it's like about 8 hours long. And I was really intrigued to see where the story goes. And I really quite liked walking around the world. That felt very vibrant. How it's going to do, I've got no idea. I mean, it's just dropped from nowhere, I think. I don't know if people are kind of aware of it. But a review should be on the site soon. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 3.5. But it is really rough around the edges. I didn't mind that. I didn't mind it at all. The Inquisitor. Here we go.
I do have a question.
Go on.
Are you a member of the Spanish Inquisition?
That's how I started my review, Paul. So, but I think only me and you would get that. It's only for us oldies that's going to get that.
Nobody expects.
Yeah.
Please tell me you started your review like that.
I did.
Nobody
Exactly.
expects the Inquisitor.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. No, it's good. It is interesting, but it feels really old school. Let's go back one more each. Let's go with who do I start with? Darren. Let's go with you.
Darren.
Oh yeah, that Inquisitor sounds good. I thought you were describing a Quentin Tarantino film when you started. It's quite a good description.
Yeah.
So the other game I've been playing over the last week is a game called Speed Crew. So it's structured like what I reference quite a lot is one of the Overcooked style games. So you are managing a certain situation against the clock. Sorry, Paul. But you're based in a pit lane on a racetrack. So cars will pull in and they'll have different problems. So they might have dented bodywork, flat tyres. They might just run out of fuel, and you've got to patch them back up as quickly as possible and get them back out on the track so they can complete as many laps as possible. And the more laps that your team complete, the better the pit crew perform in what seems to be a little internal competition. So there's a live scoreboard on the level, and you're performing against 4 other teams, and you can continually jostle for position. And that's basically it, really. As you go through the levels, you will get access to different tools. So for example, you start off with just a simple wrench to change a flat tire, but then you might get like a power wrench, or you might get a little automatic flat tire thing that repumps it, that can kind of chug away while you can go off and do something else. And the trick is to repair as many of them as possible so they do as many laps, and then you're more likely to win. There are 4 championships, and there's 10 rounds in each, and then a couple of bonus rounds as well, and they're set once a decade. So I think you start in the 70s or the 80s and you come up to pretty much the present day, maybe a few years behind the present day. And it's good. It is good fun, to be fair. I really enjoyed it. Like, it's simple and it's aimed at all ages, but it works, and it is quite enjoyable. It's nowhere near as stressful as Overcooked. It doesn't get anywhere near that difficult. But if you want to get the gold trophies on the levels and unlock the 2 special levels in each tournament, then there is a bit of challenge there as well. There's no online play, unfortunately. You can play with friends online, but there is a saboteur mode, which is a versus mode, which it's just a bit of an add-on, really. It almost felt like an afterthought. So essentially you and 3 other people can play, and there's 1 saboteur, and they turn up in the main campaign as well. And they basically just come along and bash the car up, so you've got more work to do. And you've got to, if you slap them enough times, you'll get rid of them, and then they'll take a few seconds before they respawn back into the level. And that's about all there is to it, really.
Oh, that does sound quite fun. Is it fun?
It is. It's, if you want a simple level of strategy and you don't want to be stressed out by something, it is quite good for a few hours.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty enough as well. So yeah, I think, I can't remember if I gave it a 4 like Tomb Raider, or a 3.5. I think I gave it a 4.
Okay. Do you like the sound of that, Paul? Well, you might be on that. It's not for you.
It's not for me.
No. You don't do any driving, Paul, sorry.
Well, then it's definitely not for me. See, I don't like Overcooked, so I wouldn't like this, I don't think.
No.
So, sorry.
Cannibal Cuisine?
Oh, yeah, I loved that. That was the best game I've ever played.
There you go.
Can't believe you made me play it as much as you did, you bastard.
Paul, let's talk about another franchise. It's almost as frequent as Sonic. What's this game about?
It is almost as frequent as Sonic. It does seem like there's a new game in this universe every 5 minutes. The last game that I've been playing is called Warhammer 40,000 Chaos Gate Demon Hunters. So it's going for quantity of words rather than quality, I think, in that title. Basically, it's another entry in the old strategy game universe, including with the Warhammer label on it. We play as a chapter of Space Marines called the Grey Knights, and we are just basically tasked with taking out minions of the Chaos Gods. We have one big fight, and then when we're on our way home to get the ship repaired and get ourselves repaired, we're taken over by an Inquisitor. I don't think it's the same one from your game. But basically then we have to go and start fighting all the minions of the Chaos God Nurgle. And it's quite good. It's very in-depth. The strategic fighting is good fun. You can set up like chain reactions where you can shoot bits of the scenery and blast enemies off the map and everything else. That's all good fun. It's the usual kind of Warhammer fighting. But the thing that's quite good as well is the sort of everyday management. You've got to keep the Inquisitor happy by bringing her bits of these monsters to study. You've got to keep the tech priest who runs the ship happy by repairing various systems and bringing the ship back into a better state. And you've also got to keep the Marines happy by keep giving them new gear and new armor and stuff. So there's a lot of things to keep you occupied. And I really enjoyed it. The story's very good. And yeah, if you fancy a bit of Warhammer strategy, check out Chaos Gate Demon Hunters.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I won't be playing that. Anyone else keen on that?
No, you won't be.
It was the one that I played at the Frontier event, and I really liked it.
Okay.
The code, funnily enough, came directly to me, but I thought there's no chance that I was going to fit it in to the embargo, so I passed it on to Neil. But yeah, I did really like what I did play of that. It's a good game.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Richard, what's your last game?
I'll give a quick update on Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. My Dondoku Island is shaping up nicely. Managed to whack some of the pirates that keep littering my island. I'm also quite far on with the Memoirs of a Dragon bit, so I don't know if you guys ever watched the trailer, but the main protagonist for many of the games, he's got cancer, and he's basically going round visiting all his old friends from throughout the series and basically saying goodbye to them. So I'm an emotional wreck at those moments as well. But then in between all that, there's still the main story and millions of other things to be doing. And I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near fully finishing it. I've still got tons to do. But yeah, still very good. Still enjoying it a lot.
Brilliant. Okay, yeah, we're going to play that one day, all of us. I'm just going to do one quick update. I finished Starfield. Thank you very much. Done. Finished. Off the list. Hey, I enjoyed it a lot, so it's all done. Let's go on to onto the news.
Did you get all of the achievements?
No, God, no. You have to do some really boring stuff for that. No, I've done the story.
Such a lightweight.
Let's talk about some news, because the biggest news at the moment is Xbox and PlayStation are dead. Let's talk about, because we've got tonight, as we finish this podcast, Phil will be on the Xbox podcast, and he's going to talk about these. First of all, let's talk about Xbox. First of all, they've talked about this idea of Xbox. What's the word? Giving their games onto other consoles, so multi-platform. So the rumor at the moment is that you're going to get, first of all, What's the name of that game? High Viz? I keep saying that. Why do I keep saying
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, that famous game, High Viz. We play it a lot in the warehouse at work.
We're probably doing pat testing in the rafters.
Yeah, exactly.
Good grief.
So High Viz is going to be the one that's going to give, and the other rumor is Skull and Bones. And then there's rumors of
No, it's not. It's not Skull and Bones.
No, not Skull and Bones. It's the other one. Sea of Thieves.
That's not out yet.
You know,
I'll tell you what.
And then I'm tired. I'm very tired.
That's what we want.
And then the rumors are that Starfield, kind of bigger names might go over. So this has caused a meltdown with lots of people from Xbox. I think people have been worrying that and today before the podcast there's been a sort of like a leak saying that he's told staff and every screen and the Xbox staff is Xbox is on every screen. So this idea that the Game Pass is their key thing, and maybe the consoles are maybe on the way out. These are all the kind of rumors, and then people get very upset about what's the point of having an Xbox? If it hasn't got, you can only get Starfield on it. Blah 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 blah. What do we think about this? Just let's have a little chat. Darren, what do you think? What's your thoughts?
I mean, people have been going mad, haven't they? Uncharacteristically on the internet. It's interesting because this feels like part of a much bigger picture, which we'll probably talk about in terms of what's happening in the gaming industry. So it's interesting that Xbox are kind of just getting out there now ahead of the not ahead of the speculation, but in response to the speculation, and doing this podcast, or the top brass appearing on this podcast. I think it reminds me of something that Paul said ages ago on the podcast. Where why would you limit your games to one platform if you want to make the most of them, which is a fair point. And I guess the flip side of that is, well, then why will people buy your console? So there's rumors that Xbox is going to stop making consoles. I don't believe that's going to be true. There's other rumors there's going to be a handheld. I think they want their games on as many devices as possible. We've seen it with like Samsung TVs and stuff and cloud and all that business. And they've been quite clear that they're not just going to concentrate on console and that's it. And then there's other reports about what's happening at Sony as well. And there's going to be, no big first party franchise releases for the next 12 to 14 months. And it reminds me of something you said, Gareth, I think a few months ago, where other AAA games going to kind of dry up for a bit after we get through the backlog after COVID and stuff. So I think let's just wait and see before people froth at the mouth too much about what's happening. But I don't think this is a knee-jerk reaction. I do think that maybe the timescale's been moved due to how things have been going recently. But I do think this is part of a long-term strategy that Xbox have had. I don't think this is a sort of emergency, it's all over situation.
Okay, good, Darren. Thank you. Paul?
Hello. I'm glad Darren reminded me of what I said a while ago, because I still think it's true to this day. If you spend all this money making games, why wouldn't you want to have them played on as many platforms as you can in order to recoup the costs? It's just basic business sense. I'm not so precious about the games on the Xbox that might be going to PlayStation or to Nintendo that, I'm going to start jumping up and down and acting like some kind of spoiled child, which I've seen quite a lot of online on Darren's favourite social media platform. I can't actually see a downside to this. You can play Xbox games wherever you are. I've sat here in the bedroom playing Power Wash Simulator on my phone with touch controls. It's amazing. Every lunchtime when I'm in the office, I'll sit there and I'll fire up Forza Horizon 5 or I'll fire up Palworld on the PC, playing on the cloud. You don't have to have an Xbox to play the Xbox games. I mean, it's good. It's better if you can have a console, because I like having the big black box under my telly. But it's not going to be the end of the world if they suddenly say, well, we're not going to make any more big consoles. We're going to make a handheld. I mean, if you look at how successful the Steam Deck's been, you can see why Microsoft would want a piece of that pie. As long as they don't say, and now we're going to make a VR headset, I'll be all happy.
Okay, Paul, good. Richard, what's your thoughts?
I agree with these two. I don't see it being an issue at all. It's not. Darren said it. It's not going to be a knee-jerk reaction. Microsoft will have done the numbers. If it turns out that they see the benefit of releasing a couple of games on rival consoles, then have at it. It's not going to affect me in any way. I think it's going to be beneficial for them. They've said for years that it's all about Game Pass. Game Pass is the big driver for that. If it means that they're releasing these games on other consoles, but those people that want to play them have to buy a Game Pass subscription, then I think it's going to be win-win for Microsoft. My only concern is perhaps on the hardware side, where I think they've said that they're not going to exit the hardware market, but Microsoft are really bad with physical games, and I think as one of the rumors that came out is that they shut their physical marketing department down recently as well. So whatever console comes next, I worry that it is just going to be a digital only console. But that's my only concern. But if that does happen, then I still have a Series X with a disk drive, and I'm not going to lose the backwards compatibility that I've got of 4 generations of Xbox games because I've still got that console there.
Good, brilliant, very incisive from all three of you. Fantastic.
Mm.
Summed it up.
And what do you think, Darren?
I'm against everything you said. No, I am not. No, I don't. I agree with everything you said. No, I think it's true. I think it's. I think you've got to think sometimes a little bit about people who can't. I mean, we've all got PlayStations as well, so it's. People sometimes can't afford both, so there's a little bit of that. Maybe they make a decision based on what games they want, and if they feel like a game is going to another. Anyway, there's that. That's my light argument towards it, but I think it does make complete sense if you've got if they've spent all this money on these games companies, they want to sell that Starfield game to as many people as possible. It makes complete sense. It would sell make a lot of money for them on PlayStation 5, wouldn't it? So. It makes complete sense. Yeah.
There's no money in hardware. They sell lots of consoles at a loss.
That's the problem. Xbox are really lagging behind PlayStation on the consoles. That's the biggest thing. So they've got to do something, or they die. So this
is it. I think that the margin on the hardware is non-existent or tiny. But then it's in the backdrop of what's happening. Like there was news around Embracer. That they've cancelled 29 unannounced games between July and December, as well as I think it's over 1,000 jobs have gone across different arms of the group. All the decisions that are being made are in the backdrop of the gaming industry that it's just been an awful time for people who work in the industry for the last few months. And Microsoft are buying up these studios, and they're making. We've talked about the efficiency savings they're making as well. So why would they then keep all those games only on Xbox? I think if you look at it as purely a business, I know there's the argument, why would people buy Xbox? But I guess if they're not just focusing on the hardware market, then that doesn't really hold much weight. Yeah. If you look at it purely from a business perspective, you want a slice of as much market share as possible.
I think they've got to do it. And I think in terms of games, it's a really interesting time. I mean, it's really interesting. There's 2 articles this week about the Immortals of Avium game, which was leaked by developers, said about they spent £128 million on that game. Why do they, it was a massive risk and it's lost a lot of money. And then you've got the Suicide Squad stuff. And because game development is such a long period of time, especially those AAA games now, the reason those games like Skull and Bones is another one, they got announced and developed when live service games, people thought that was the future. That was the future of gaming, and that's how you're going to make money. So they started making it then, in 2017. And then people are not interested in live service games anymore.
Apparently that's a quadruple A game, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Is it Yves Guillemot said? It's a new tier of game. It's that good.
Best one ever. Yeah.
We'll find out a bit more about that next week. So I think, and PlayStation's easy. This guy's come in, taken over. He's just said the PlayStation 5's in the latter stage of its life cycle. I don't think we're going to get another console to 2028. Maybe it's but it's and it won't be doing any major games, which is quite a blow, that one, for PlayStation. You know, I mean, there's going to be PlayStation only games. I think already today they've got a game they've got a console. It'll be lots of exclusives and stuff for a while, but yeah. It's I think it's a hard time. Remember, we've got the impact of the strikes are going to hit us this year as well. That's why everything's been delayed to 2025. You know, from the actors' strike and the writers' strike. So it's going to be a strange year this year, I think. Lots of indie stuff, I think, will be great. Be like the COVID times again a bit. Maybe the big ones will be harder. We're going to just go on there. We're going to move on from our news of doom and gloom. But I think that was a really good points by the three of you. I think you summed it up perfectly. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Well done.
Well done.
Good. We're going to start a little feature when Richard's on, and we're going to call this feature Dobbo's Confessional.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
You need a sting, Dobbo. You need
do.
like an hour tune or something.
You do need something.
Just get a choir doing something.
We do. We'd do that in 2025.
It's the choir Pingu.
Tell us about what you want us to do.
I don't know, and the more I think about it, the more I think that we've done something similar before. But basically, I just wanted to be really judgmental. Wanted to pose a question to you guys, see who comes up with the worst response, and then condemn them to a life of solitude.
Great.
Awesome.
I said to you guys on the Discord, like, I'm going to remain impartial, because the first thing that Paul did when I mentioned this was, well, I'm going to say Beyond Good and Evil's rubbish, and I was like, but if you do it in a constructive manner. No, he didn't. If you do it in a constructive manner, then when you make a good argument, then I will obviously take it into account. So I think
sorry, Richard, go on.
I think the first question I wanted to pose you guys was, if you could banish any franchise into the depths of hell, what would you go for?
Paul,
ooh,
go
interesting.
first.
Oh, I get to go first, do I?
Yeah.
It's a toss-up. There were two that leapt to mind straight away, and those franchises are BioShock and Assassin's Creed.
Pick one.
Assassin's Shock.
Good.
BioCreed.
That's two still.
Oh yeah, sorry. I will banish BioShock then. I just don't get it. I've played all of the games. I've never finished one. They don't hold my interest, and I'm a sucker for a shooting game. So yeah, sorry, BioShock can get lost.
So Paul's reasoning is he just doesn't get it.
No, it's not that I don't get it. I don't get why everybody is so mad about these games. You know, would you kindly? No, I wouldn't. Piss off. You know,
it's great storytelling though through the medium of video games in an era where that big cinematic storytelling. I
didn't think I had to convince you, Darren. I thought I just had to convince Dobbo.
Well, you've not done that either, so...
I didn't realise that you were allowed to chime in as well.
We're going in overtime if you're going to talk about that.
Well, yeah, anyway, so that's my choice, BioShock.
Okay. Good. Darren?
So I'm going to follow Paul's logic. There's a toss-up between two franchises for me.
No, you have to pick one. You have to pick one.
I will get there. FIFA or Call of Duty, because I can't really see what either of them, maybe when they first came out, brought to the table, but I don't see what they bring in the modern day. I think they need to be retired. But I will probably go with FIFA or EA Sports, EA Football, whatever the hell it's called now. I don't think we need that anymore.
I can't argue with Darren on that one. I think that's a good call.
Thank you.
Not as good as BioShock, obviously, but it's a good call.
I just think this is probably. Be careful not to get slapped with a libel, but it feels like that on one year something will not be as good as the previous year, and then it will be remedied the next year because they reached a plateau a few years ago of what you can do with that game. and they should have stopped there.
It is an interesting argument. I will say it's in the lead so far, although it wasn't very difficult.
Well, I'm glad I'm winning. Thanks, Dobbo.
How rude.
I'm going to go for a very similar one, and that is Pro Evolution Soccer. So it's on the other side. When Pro Evolution Soccer was, when it was like in the 2000s, it was the best football game. And then when it got into the 2008 period, it lagged behind FIFA because it just didn't have the servers. It couldn't play online. So when everyone started playing online as a single player or co-op experience, it was brilliant. But when it started going online, it couldn't do the servers. So it's lost its war against, and it started to lose its franchises. It started to lose its names. You had to call yourself Manchester Red or Manchester Blue instead of Manchester United or Man City. And worse and worse now, it's a free-to-play game, but where it just isn't the same beast as it used to be. It's taken its basics. You have to pay for the things you used to have, like the Master League and stuff. It's just sort of dying a death, and maybe it should go, or they make it into something completely new. They try again. We need another football game.
First-person shooter.
Yeah, we need another football game to compete with FIFA. It'd be great. So that's my franchise. That's my main one.
Is it called esports football now?
Yeah.
All right.
So basically now you've got the choice between Dobbo between Darren and Gareth, who have basically just come up with the same argument, or me, who's thinking outside the box.
I think they've come up with very different arguments.
They've come up with
it's worth,
basically the same game.
For what it's worth, I enjoy BioShock. I enjoy Football Club. I enjoyed Pro Evo back in the day, but I think I am going to go with Pro Evo / esports football.
Brilliant.
As to be banished, because Gareth made the best argument, and that was my reasoning why.
Brilliant.
This format reminds me of Room 101. Have you been watching it?
I was going to say that.
Good.
It is a little bit, but I do have other questions that aren't banishing.
Okay, cool.
Good. Thank you.
I didn't realise there was a correct and a wrong answer, unfortunately. I thought it was just an opinion piece, but, I stand corrected. I will know for next time.
You should know that all opinions are fact on the internet.
That's true, yeah. But I'm going to do more research into games that you like and don't like, so next time you ask me, I can choose something I know you don't like.
Okay.
As long as you argue it well.
There we go. That was the first instalment of Dobbo's Confessional. We'll put some music in for that next time. Thank you very much for that, Richard.
Do you know what would be good?
Yeah, go on.
If we could get the sound effect of when a monk picks up a tribute on Age of Empires.
Okay, good.
Oh, yes.
Goodness sake.
You
have to get Age of Empires in there somewhere, don't you?
Get it for me.
Yeah,
you too.
by the way, I like that franchise, so be careful when you decide to speak about that.
Who doesn't like that franchise?
I don't like that franchise.
Yeah. I got a feeling Paul's never going to win this.
Can we banish that one? Can I change my answer?
That's it, gentlemen. Thank you so much. That was good. I like that. What are we looking forward to next week, Darren? What are you looking to?
We're going to the theatre, and a friend of ours is starring in a production. So we're going to see her, and then we're doing dinosaur mini golf at the weekend, and obviously listening to the future of Xbox in about an hour's time.
Good. What are you going to see at the theatre? What's the production?
It's called Betty Blue Eyes.
Oh, don't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, tell us what it's like.
Yeah. Small theatre, but it should be good.
Yeah. Paul, what about you?
I haven't really got very much to look forward to, sadly.
You've got something in here. You're not going to say that out loud, are you?
I can't remember what I wrote. What did I write, Gareth? Tell me.
Do you want me to say it out loud?
Yes, say it out loud.
Wife away for 3 days, so peace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, obviously. I mean, I took that as, that I'm really looking forward to that.
Wow.
She's taking the boy and they're going to go and visit her father in Wales for 3 days. So I'm going to be left to my own devices. So I'll be running around the house in my pants. It'll be great.
Pat testing everything at home.
Pat testing all of the things. It's actually my son's 13th birthday on Saturday.
Oh.
So we'll be going out for that, and I will have an official teenager.
Great.
Although he's been in his pre-teens for about the last 4 years, so I can't see there's going to be much difference.
Didn't you have a terrible birthday last year? Was it awful? Something happened. I can't remember. You talked about it in the podcast.
My birthday
No, not
last
his.
year.
His birthday.
His birthday?
You did something. Went out for dinner?
He always does it. I went and did Laser Quest.
Oh, I can't remember. I'll have to look
And
back.
I was a little unfit, unfortunately, because, when you're the only grown-up in the room with a bunch of kids, you're quite a large target for Laser Quest. So I ended up getting shot to pieces. But, yeah, that was it. I thought you meant my birthday then when I got COVID, which was my great birthday present. So
good.
But anyway, thank you, Gareth, for your interest.
Good, thank you. Richard, what about you? What are you looking forward to?
I've got a couple of gigs. On Saturday, I'm going to see Fozzy, which is Chris Jericho's band in Bradford. And then Sunday, we've got Bowling for Soup and Less Than Jake doing like a co-headline show in Leeds.
Ooh.
So looking forward to them.
Exciting. Yeah, good. If I knew who they were, I'd be very excited. Good.
The popular beat combo,
yes,
Gareth.
thank you. Is it
in
like...
the hit parade.
Is it Dire Straits? Do they know them? Do they play them once?
Yeah.
Okay.
They cover the Dire Straits.
Good, thank you. Right, gentlemen. Until next time, thank you very much, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You'll be able to find all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.